Hello, my Zentangle friends. This is Barbara Langston, CZT. I'm a Certified Zentangle Teacher, and welcome to another session of Not Perfect Zen. I hope you're having a good day. I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here and happy to teach you another tile. Recently, I showed on my social media this tile. Okay, there's the right direction, and I had someone ask me, how did I do this in layers like that? What did I do first? What did I do second? And I tried to explain through text, but I think it's always easier to explain in a video. I'm not going to repeat this tile. I mean, you can look at it, but I'm not going to repeat this one. This one has Qurtuba. That is that pattern. Okay, this is Braze. This one is Yolo. Okay, and then the border is Doodah, and the very background is Knightsbridge. So we have this layer, and then this one, that one, and then that one. So 4 layers, and it's really not hard at all. So that's what I'm going to show you today, and I think you're going to enjoy it. We will need, for supplies, I'm going to use a Zentangle 3.5-inch tile. You can use anything that you have. I have in the past just drawn a 3.5-inch square in a sketchbook and practice that way. And especially if this is new to you, try your drawings in a sketchbook first. And then if you have paper tiles, then draw them again on a tile, okay? The other things I'm going to use, I'm not sure that I'll need anything more than just a Micron pen, okay? You could use a Micron 01. If you have any other pen, you can use that too, okay? This is my blending tool, also known as a tortillon, and I keep this paper clip in there so that the tip stays strong. These are marked just so that I know that these are fairly new pens. I have my graphite pencil, and I have a kneaded eraser. These are soft, and they don't leave the residue on your paper. We may or may not need that, okay? So to do this, we're going to start with our 4 corner dots, and what you want to do is decide how big you want your border to be, how wide. And we're not going to do one that's very big, so you can just come in a little bit. I'd say about right here. Okay, I think that's about, the width of the tip of my finger. Sorry, now I kind of made a mess. So kind of gauge that all the way around with your corner dots. Which I didn't gauge that one very well. So this will be this part, okay, this inner edge. So just to give you an idea, and don't worry if you didn't line it up like I didn't line mine up, okay? Just going to straighten this out a little bit. Okay? And now decide how you want this to go. It could be a straight banner across there or ribbon. It could be wavy, however you want to do it. It could start out small like I have mine or go big, but I'm going to make this one simple. And so I think I'm going to come from this edge, and I'm just going to kind of give myself a guide. Slightly curvy, okay? And that is our string line, which means that's just going to kind of guide my first part of this pattern. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. The other thing that you'll need is a piece of scrap paper. This is just blank cardstock. And I'll show you why. You might need that in a minute. So again, we're doing this top layer. And the pattern that I'm going to use is called 1, 2, 3 O'Leary. And let me give you an idea of how this one works first. We're going to have 2 lines going across, kind of like that. And then the way that she does it is you do kind of an S curve. 1, do another S curve, 2, and another S curve, 3, and on 3 we're going to make an orb that comes all the way back around, touches here, goes into the center, and then we have a big end on it. Okay? So if we do that again, we're going to start at the bottom of this orb, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and here comes your O. And apparently that's a song that I don't know, so don't worry, I'm not going to sing to you. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3 O'Leary. All right, so keep this handy though, we might need it. And here's the pattern we're going to do. So I put my line across here. This is the top layer, so we're going to do this one first. Okay? And I'm going to come from the bottom, and I'm going to aura, or kind of copy that. Okay? And then I want to go ahead and put an aura on both sides of this. I do better if I pull my pen toward me slowly, so that's what I'm doing. And then I'm going to turn and do that on the other side also. Do some practice with 1, 2, 3 O'Leary, and then decide how you want to do it. You could do it kind of big, similar to what I have here, or just keep the size that we have here. So ours is going to look very similar to this. So let's start going across. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, and here's your O. Just a big orb. Start at the bottom. 1, 2, 3 O'Leary. And you do want it to touch this other edge. One, 2, 3, and then your O. And I didn't exactly touch there, but it's okay. Just keep moving down. And there's 1, 2, 3, and then our O. Okay, we're going to start at the end here. So our 1. There would be, okay, this is where I want you to put your paper under here. And I learned this from Kelly Barone. And let's just pretend that your pattern keeps going like this. And this is a way to make sure, if you want, how your patterns might look. Okay, so if I had one and I needed to have that O, then I would have an idea of how it's going to look on the end. Hopefully that makes sense. Excuse me. And then you can take that out. And then the next thing she does is these lines between each of these. So I'm going to start at that edge and then just add these simple lines on each side. Oops. I just love how this looks. And you can do anything across the center of this. Okay. All right, there you go. There's our first layer. So what I did next on this was, so there's our ribbon that we did with O'Leary. Next I came and I did the border. Okay, so let's fill this in. And then pick your pen up, come down. I came in just a tiny bit to make it match that other side a little better. And then come back down. And then to get this one to match up, it would be right there. All right. And then we're going to add our other border, or the other side of this border. And it's not very wide. Let's see, my tortillon's a little bit less, it's not as wide as my pencil, okay? So let's come out. See, it's not perfectly straight, and that's okay. This is called the Halaba technique, going under. And it just means pick up your pen and don't draw across what's already there. Okay, let's see, this would come up about right there. Okay, so the pattern I'm going to show you is, to me, it's a version of Betweed. And I have these two lines. Let me show you first. Sorry, got kind of distracted here. If I had kind of a triangle and I wanted to fill it with Betweed, I would be coming across like this, And then like that. This. Okay. So that's basically how Betweed looks. And we're going to do kind of that same thing over here. There's another pattern out there called Plait, P-L-A-I-T, by Abigail Lalonde, L-A-L-O-N-D-E. And the difference with hers is that she puts these little hatch lines, but it's basically the same thing that we're going to do. And we're just going to make a line, and then about halfway through that line, we're going to do another one. Same thing here. About halfway up, add another line. And then just keep going back and forth. Super simple. But it gives a look like a piece of braid next to your pattern. All right, so let's start with that. You can go to any corner. I'm going to go ahead and put a line across the corner, and then let's just start going back and forth. Start at the middle, go across. Okay. Just take your time. Don't worry if they're exact. But again, you're going to go to about the middle of that line and then just keep going back and forth. Now I'm going to make a diagonal line at each of the corners. So I'm going to go ahead and put that there. This one's going to come across, and then it's just going to meet there. All right, turn your tile, and we're not going to see much up here, so I'm just going to put a line down. And then let's just start this one going this way. And then let's just come down again. So again, you can call this a version of Betweed, or it's the pattern Plait. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put that diagonal in. This is going to go across, and meet there. All right, turn, and then come down this edge. And see, I didn't get that one exactly in the middle. It doesn't matter. I try to remember to watch where I'm going so that I have this tendency to do something similar to that and not go all the way to the line. So watch where you're going and try to get your pen to stop on the line. Okay, go ahead and put that one in there. That one's a little bit skinnier, and it's okay. And this one is nice if you do it bigger like this and put these little lines in there. It's a really good effect too. Okay, last section. I am expecting a delivery soon, so if my dog starts barking, I will have to pause this. All right, there you go. Isn't that cool? I just think that's such a fun pattern to do. All right, so we have done 2 layers so far. We've done this one and the border. Now we're going to put something that goes under our frame. I should be calling it a frame instead of a border. We're going to go under with a pattern that is probably new to you. This one is called Cee-A-Mosa, and it's by Alice Hendon. She's a CZT, and she has the Tangle All Around books and the Tangle All Around website. And it's a very simple pattern, but it adds some more drama, some dark color to it. So decide how you think. You might want this to go. With this one, I made it kind of wavy. I'm not going to do a really wavy line with this one. Just don't overthink it. Start somewhere. Go under your frame. I'm going to curve a little bit so it would come under here. And then let's let it go out this way. Pick up your pen and come like this. All right? And then we're going to add an aura to that. And I'm going to try to keep it the same distance because it does make it look good. And, oh, that kind of went in a little bit. It's okay. All right. So next we're going to add these little dark spots, little bumps. And I have made them. Let me show you real quick. I did it kind of like this, and then I made my bumps kind of like crescent moon. Okay, don't do that. Make them short like this, and then we're going to fill them in, and then we're going to match it on the other side. And it just looks a whole lot better when you do it small, like she shows in the steps. And this one is a simple one. Once you draw your pattern, if you save these in a sketchbook, you'll be able to do it again. All right, so we're leaving that area open. Let's see, come down. Oh, sorry. Okay. Got my delivery. Sorry about the dog barking. Okay, then just move down a little bit, put another bump on each side. And there'll probably be one about there. We'll just start a new one here. And we'll put one here. And another one here. And I'm going to switch to my 01 for these auras. And then I'm just gonna slowly aura this, which just means put a line right next to the one that you just made. And then just slowly come down. Okay. And we're going to put 2 auras on this, on each side of this one. You can continue to put as many as you like. Remember, this is your art. Do it the way that you like it. And I was telling a friend today that when I was trying to figure out what to do for this video, I tend to worry. That's just me. What pattern to use, what's going to look good, what will you like? Okay, just on and on. That's just my brain. And I finally decided to just pick some patterns that I know I like instead of trying to find a new pattern. Whoop, sorry, went off the screen. And find patterns that you like. If you watch a video, maybe practice those patterns in a sketchbook. And if you find that you're not comfortable with that pattern, then make a note of that and go on to something else. Find some patterns that you do enjoy. It really makes a difference in your practice. All right, so there's our 3rd layer. There's 1, then our frame, and this little thing that went across. And our 4th layer will be the very bottom, like this. Okay, this is Knightsbridge, and all I did was I used my pencil, and I very lightly drew that grid, okay? And then I went back with my blending stump and softened it, and it just gives such a cool effect, okay? But we're going to add our shading first, and I think I need to sharpen my pencil. Okay, so this is the little sharpener that I used. Got it from Zentangle, and it's just easy to have around on my desk. It's a little bit sharp, which is what I want, but not too sharp. So I'm just gonna soften that end a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna do this top layer first. And I'm gonna come along the inside of this line and just add a little bit of shading all the way across. And the nice thing about a sharp pencil is you can get it right on the edge. And I'm not worried about these lines that go through here like this, but if you want to erase those, then you can. I don't see one on that side. Okay, I'm going to turn it and do the same thing on this side. You don't need a lot. I know I've said this before, but Maria says shading is the icing on the cake. All right. Now I have my tortillon, and I'm just going to soften that edge and pull it toward the center. Okay, I'm going to turn it and do the same thing on this side. We don't want to see a harsh edge from our pencil. And then with what's on your tortillon, if you want, add just a little bit of shading in this curve. And you can probably pick up a little bit of graphite from what's already there. We don't want it to be really dark. Okay? Very simple. Most of the shading I do on my tiles is the same thing every time. Okay? Next, I'm going to make this look like it is above everything else by putting graphite on this outer edge. And again, you don't need a lot, but you do want to try to touch that line. I try not to leave a space between the line I drew and my pencil, because it can be really noticeable if it's too wide. All right, let's do that on the other side. And we are going over this frame and over this other pattern. So we're going to have our shading going over that. And this pencil is just like a number 2 pencil. If that's all you have, then you can use that. But I have found that sometimes this is just a little bit darker, and I like that. All right, then again, we're getting our blending tool. If you don't have one of these, they're pretty cheap, but you could use your finger. That's what Maria did in the beginning. And I've seen people use Q-tip, the cotton buds. Okay, now let's do that on the other side. Soften it. All right. And again, we don't want a harsh edge, so I'm just making sure that looks nice and soft. Okay, so now we have done that top layer. And I'm not going to do shading around this frame, but I do want to add some shading where Cee-A-Mosa goes under the frame. And again, just soften that. And then do that on the other side. And over here. And soften that. Okay? So now we're going to add our fourth layer. Now, if you wanted to, you could do Knightsbridge. I love what my friend Polly does. She does what she calls ghost Printemps. And I'm not sure exactly how she does hers, except that I know she draws Printemps in pencil. So if we had it like this, then we're going to go back and just go over it very lightly with our blending stump, okay? We don't want to do a harsh line, okay? So I don't want to, let me get to this edge. I don't want to push down and do a hard line, okay? Because then you're still going to see that hard line. I just want very soft, just the lightest touch when you're doing this. And then when you come back with your blending stump, you can soften that and bring it around a little bit at a time. Okay? And if you happen to think it is too dark, you could come back, if you have a kneaded eraser, and lighten it. Okay? That's what we're going to do on the bottom. And just pick any area and add your pattern. Again, very softly. And I'm going to make mine kind of big. I don't want it to be tiny Printemps. And then just go to another area. Add another one. If you're going behind, pick up your pencil. Let's do another one here. Put one here. You could start one here. Okay. And do one in this corner. You won't see exactly where it's going, but just pretend it's going under and around and back under. Let's put one here. We'll put a little one in here. You won't see it on that side. We'll start one here. Another one down here. And we'll just start one here. Okay, hopefully you can see what I've done. And now we're going to take our blending stump, and this is one of the reasons that I keep this in here, because if it gets pushed down too much and it's really big on the end, then it's not easy to do this. So just go to each of these and then just start softening them. And you can decide how dark you want it or how light. But what we're trying to do is make it look like this was maybe the original background for your paper. for your tile. And I'm trying to keep my hand off the tile so that I don't smear the shading that's already there. Okay. Just keep softening your Printemps. All right, there you go. What do you think? I think this is so much fun. So here's our top layer, our frame, our third layer, and the very bottom is the fourth layer. All right, I think that was fun. Let's find a place for our chop. That's an L, a B, and a B. If you're new to Zentangle and you don't know how to do a chop, Rick has a really good blog post. So if you search for Zentangle and chop, okay, then you'll be able to find his blog post, and it's really good. So the patterns we've used are O'Leary, and let me, sorry, back up. And you could call this one Plate or Betweed, and then the last one is Printemps. And I always have these listed in the title and in the description. Descriptions are below the videos, and there will be a dot, 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 and the word more. And if you click on that, you'll see more of the description. I will put links to the step outs for these, and any other information is in the description. I hope that you've enjoyed this. If so, please hit the like button, subscribe, share, leave comments. I always reply to the comments, and I love reading what you have to say. If you have questions, please send me questions. I do my best to answer them, and I hope that you'll come back again. Thank you. Bye.